Chapter 3. No to Sexual Immorality. Temptation is too human, but not giving in to temptation is a conscious choice. Today, we live in a sandwich of both moral and immoral societies, with the latter sounding more than the former. However, just because there is mushroom growth of immoral ways of living, which are witnessed through indecent dressing in public and on several media platforms as a form of entertainment, social trends through music videos, movies, and miniseries, it is absurd that all these avenues are accessed by almost everyone at their fingertips via the mobile technologies. However, that does not eliminate the fact that a noble and a decent way of living still exists within our societies. It is a matter of choice you're making today, committing to say no to sexual immorality and indecent ways of living. There are several forms of sexual immorality that are stinging society today in the names of international human rights, say homosexuality, masturbation, multi-sexual relationships, to mention but a few. All these are earmarking the source of recurring domestic violence cases and other family-breaking challenges we see today. However, I present to you the great news that you are part of the solution to end all these frustrations. Your sole role is to stand firm by your no whenever you feel tempted to engage in such acts, because temptation is too human, but not giving in to temptation is a conscious choice. Therefore, you ought to note that all these forms of sexual immorality have several life consequences. For instance, trauma, guilt, depression, contraction of sexually transmitted diseases like human papillomavirus (HPV), viral hepatitis B, herpes simplex virus (HSV), human immunodeficiency virus (HIV) and its associated effects, sexually transmitted infections (STIs) like syphilis, gonorrhea, trichomonas, etc., which may later result into loss of one's focus for a better future due to self-condemnation, loss of self-esteem, and interrupted schooling schedule. Nevertheless, there is no doubt that you have to make friends and cooperate with all people irrespective of their gender, male or female. Thus, the need to strengthen your no to sexual immorality and make friends of either gender, however, not for sexual gains but rather self-development. This will help you stay focused on your studies and also effectively learn how to work and respect others in society. Note: just like you would not climb a tree beginning with leaves, there is no need to rush into sexual relationships while still in school. Instead, devote your efforts to pursuing your academics first. You will never be late to finding your life partner after graduating in your dream career. However, sometimes you might encounter bad peer influence from other students who might intend to involve you in loose relationships, but I encourage you to stand firm by your no, because if you make that strong decision not to engage in such relationships, no one will force you without your consent. So that means that you have total control over what you choose to engage in or not. Myths and truths about sex. Iconically, there are several myths that you'll hear or have heard already amongst your fellows concerning sex and body orientation. But they are all false ways of influencing others to engage in loose sexual relationships. However, the truth still remains the truth despite the myths spread in society. And in this case, the truth is that you are physically okay. You don't need to engage in early sex or multi-sexual relationships in order to grow into a man. And surely, you will not die, and neither will you grow infertile, because your reproductive fertility or health is naturally determined by the testosterone hormone, which is manufactured within your body in the gonads. It is that hormone, testosterone, which is responsible for the development of various physical characteristics specific to your adulthood as a man. Therefore, if you experience wet dreams, you are okay. There is no problem with you. And if you haven't, That should not worry you. They will come when the time is right for you. Way forward against sexual immorality. Humble piece of advice. In order to strengthen your no to any form of sexual immorality and learn how to cooperate with your fellow students of either gender, I encourage you to take this piece of advice at heart wherever you go. It worked for me, and I hope it will work for you too. 1. Seek God's guidance in all that you do and plan to do. Let your humble prayer be that God grants you the opportunity to make friends with good and productive individuals, and always be mindful of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verses 18 to 20, which reminds us to flee from sexual immorality. 2. Choose to become a member of NBM and stand by its beliefs. NBM is an acronym for Not Before Marriage, and the belief or creed by its members is do not have sex before marriage. 3. Treat other people's daughters the exact way you will honestly want other boys treat your sisters and daughters in future. Note: other ways on how not to fall victim of sexual immorality are: 1. Being selective on the kind of information you feed your mind through watching, reading, and listening productive information that is aimed at self-encouragement, growth, and development. 2. Seeking guidance from trusted sources like your parents, teachers, religious leaders, healthy personnel, and school counselors concerning sex education in order not to give in to myths about your sex life. However, do seek with a cautious mind to relate all the information you get from them afterwards. 3. Always remember to stand firm by your not sexual immorality, because you have total control over what you choose to engage in or not. 4. And in any case, if you are victimized in any way, seek medical attention, counseling, and promptly take the medication as prescribed by the health personnel. Then commit to saying no in order to brighten up your future, because you still have chance. Author's life reflection on sexual immorality. After my internship from university, I subscribed to a 3-day picnic for youths that was organized and advertised on CBS radio by the Buganda Youths Group, Akezimbira. It was both a visit and a tour to Kalangala Islands with lots of activities to engage in, ranging from physical drills, sports, youth guidance and counseling sessions, to mention but a few. I interacted and learned from several people, made new friends, and learned about the indigenous history of the islands from the tour guides. All went well for the 3 days until we returned from the trip. One of the person I thought we had become friends surprised me with her seductive messaging and requests thereafter. This was a lady who was fit to be my mother by age. However, despite her prompt trickery, I overcame by saying no and meant it, having thought about what would happen if I gave in. How would I feel if I discovered later that I contracted STIs in the due course, yet I had a choice to say no? What was the worst thing that would happen if I didn't give in? Having thought about all those questions and many others, I firmly said no, and the worst that ever happened was losing the friendship. Lesson: there is more to your dear life than giving in to shiny petty material and peanut money that is pledged by people who want to exploit your sex life, yet in turn compromise your life aspirations and health altogether. Therefore, always say no whenever you get exposed to such trials. There is nothing to lose, only to gain. Stick to your no and mean it, because you'll have said yes to accomplishing your dreams uninterrupted. Reflection questions on sexual immorality. 1. List at least 4 consequences of sexual immorality. 2. Write a summary of 5 trusted people from whom you should seek legitimate information about sex education. 3. In relation to sex education, what is NBM in full? 4. Write the belief or creed of the NBM members. 5. How do you become a member of the NBM?